Constructing buildings consumes more of the Earth's resources than any other human activity. It produces several million tons of greenhouse gases, toxic emissions, water pollutants, and solid waste. Building with wood can significantly reduce the impact on the environment. Wood grows naturally and is a renewable resource. Responsible management helps ensure forests meet society's long-term demand for wood products and accounts for social and environmental values. Today, U.S. reforestation and tree growth exceed tree harvesting by almost 40%. Improvements in technology and new product development have helped make wood product manufacturing a zero-waste industry. Wood products continue to store carbon absorbed by trees. This helps mitigate the carbon footprint associated with buildings. For example, the 5-story wood frame construction of Avalon Anaheim Stadium stores 12,410 metric tons of carbon, the equivalent of operating a home for over 1,000 years. Life cycle assessment is a globally accepted method of evaluating the environmental impacts of building materials and structures over their lifetime. This performance-based approach considers a range of factors, from fossil fuel depletion and water use to ozone damage, greenhouse gas emissions, and more. Life cycle assessment shows that wood products have a lighter footprint. They produce lower greenhouse gas emissions, less air pollution, and lower volumes of waste. When selecting building materials, consider that wood delivers more and has lower costs to the environment. To learn more about environmental impacts of wood, please visit our website.
Well, hi, welcome back to the Green Connection. We've been having a variety of programs, different types of programs and different subjects ranging from cigar boxes to robots. Today we're going to go back to our original roots, and that is green building. A few years ago, I had my guest who's here today, Juan Fernandez, who had really not been in San Antonio too long. You came from Mexico, right?
Right.
Yeah, and that was like 2005?
2005.
And what did you do when you were in Mexico?
No, I did something else. I was involved in a drug chain company. So nothing to do with construction.
Not at all?
No.
Well, what made you, when you came to San Antonio, did you have the idea of doing construction when you came here?
Not really. I came for something related to real estate to try to start a project that didn't actually start, and that's why I got into residential construction. So I saw the opportunity to rehab a house in La Vaca, and that's how I started.
And what was the first house that you did in La Vaca? And that was 2005?
That was in 2005. It's in Sadie, 201 Sadie is the address.
201 Sadie?
201, yeah.
Yeah. What Juan has done, and we'll take this through the show, he has progressed with his idea of construction. I can't believe, did you ever do any construction work yourself when you were young?
No, I basically got here and learned on the rehab. Once you get a little bit into the projects, you get to learn a lot of the bones. Yes.
That's spooky. Not everybody could do that because you have to hire people and you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know if they're going to do it right or not.
And most of them don't.
Right. A lot of them, they don't. But, well, with the first one, you learn a lot.
You have to have a very strong mind and body to be able to work construction, because even working with a handyman is a real pain.
Yeah.
So Sadie, that's in La Vaca.
It's in La Vaca. Yeah.
And did you live in that area?
No, I really liked, since we moved from Mexico to San Antonio, we really liked downtown. We were living in the north then. We now live in downtown. But I don't know why, one day I was just driving by the La Vaca area and I saw this house for sale. So I thought it had a great potential. So I bought it and I started working on it, and it worked fine. And that's the area that I really liked. It was downtown and Southtown.
But then you started sort of a village, and we'll go back into the village later also. I think you bought some 1 or 2 lots when Saha was offering some lots in La Vaca that they were holding on to for something they were going to build, I think, a Saha project.
Well, actually, I had built a few houses on Fest Street and they were pretty contemporary, and they were pretty good looking. And so a couple that really liked and wanted to buy one of those houses, they couldn't get it. The house went under contract before they were able to submit their offer. So they contacted me, and they had one of the lots there in Saham.
Oh, they had the lot.
Yeah, they had a lot. So I told them, well, it's great as long as we work with the same architect and do more or less the same. I'm interested. So we did that, and it came out pretty nice.
Well, as we're going to see, we have some photos, and we'll identify them as we go along. But actually, you started out rehabbing, which is even
Right.
harder than starting from scratch.
Right, but I think the rehab works as you start to demolish and understand the bones of the houses and what you need to do. Helped me a lot to understand the construction.
And then they had the historical review.
Right,
you had-
HGSE. I was lucky enough to meet with Kate Hines long time ago. I met with her and got her advice on how to start with the Sadie home. So she told me what she would do. So I started doing that, and so I got a lot of interest in the historic homes. So after that, I more or less knew what needed to be done on the outside to keep them the character, the historic character of the houses. So that helped me a lot.
With the rehab, that's what you're rehabbing an existing house with some bones, and you have to know how to do that, and we'll go into that also. But in the meantime, when did you start working on Lee Street?
On Lee Street, first I had a house actually that faced Callahan, which is on the other side of Lee Street. So, and in the back, it was a very deep lot that faced Lee Street and Callahan. So I was able to subdivide the lot, and once I subdivided that lot, instead of selling it, I thought, I'm gonna build a new home. So that's the first new home that I built. And
When was that?
that was 2011, I believe,
Oh,
or
then
2010.
you were rehabbing for a while before you.
Right, and it went well. We're very happy. It took a while to get it, but it was a house that as it was the first one, we paid a lot of attention to all the details, and we're very proud that it won the City of San Antonio Green Building Awards, and it also won a national award from the the Builders Green Program. So it's that one. It's 107 Lee Street.
When you won a lot of awards and been recognized for green building, so in addition to constructing and reconstructing projects, you've added and you've included green.
Yes.
Did you start out in Sadie doing that?
No, Sadie, I basically started just learning about it. Then I was fortunate enough to have an office in the same building as Build San Antonio Green. So I met them, and I started talking to them, and I saw the advantages of all their program and also all what they were doing. So to me that made sense completely, because at the end you're going to be getting a better product. So as of that, I committed to doing all of the houses that we built, certifying them green.
Was the 107 the first one?
The 107, no, actually, I think we did a historic one before finishing 107. I think it was 315 Lee Street. I think that one was the first. It's a red one, that one.
315.
315 Lee
Yeah,
Street.
that
I think that one was the first one, I
that
think.
house was a mess when you started.
Yeah, it was pretty bad shape, and it came out beautiful at the end.
Because the interior was, it looked like it had a tin interior.
Yeah, it was in pretty bad shape, and the good thing, it had the fireplaces covered, so we exposed the fireplaces and we integrated it within the kitchen, so it came out really, really nice.
How long did it take you to do this?
Well, the renovation, depending on the size of the project, these houses take anywhere from 4 months to 6 months, depending. All of the rehab that we do is complete rehab. We don't do, yeah, less than a year. Well, depending on the size of the project. We've had one on King William that it took us almost 2 years, but it was a big house, complete rehab. But usually anywhere from 4 months to 6 months, or in the bigger projects, if it's a complete rehab like the King William one, that took us 2 years, but that was a very complicated project.
Well, you have to keep the exterior because of the
Right,
historical district rules.
Right.
You can't change it very much.
right.
But the inside, you've done a lot with.
Right.
You've opened it up.
And sometimes you also add to these houses. Some of them are small, and nowadays people want more bathrooms and more closet space. And these houses sometimes are pretty small. Some of these were like 1,100 square feet, if I remember correctly, and they only had one restroom. So sometimes
Yeah, that was, nobody had.
right nowadays everybody wants at least two
He
restrooms.
wants his own.
Right. So the basic, typical things that people want, it's the 2 bathrooms, open kitchen, and closet space.
Do you think the open kitchen idea is going to last? Because I look at it and all the smoke and all the smells and everything,
Right.
and everybody watches you do your.
I think so. I think they're gonna last because also it makes the spaces more efficient, as you're not wasting any corners and things
Yeah,
like that.
like having a
You're
parlor.
integrated. And I think as long as the house is well built and well designed, that you have a good exhaust for whenever you're cooking, you turn on the exhaust, you're fine. You won't be having any issues.
So, 315 Lee was your first, and that was
Yes,
in
the first green certified.
first green certified.
Green certified, and that one, 107 Lee Street, was, I think, very, I don't remember exactly, but it was pretty close.
Was this the first one on the Lee? No, this one 406.
No, actually, the first one that I did on Lee Street was 410. Then I did the next one. I did, well, before that one, I did one on Callahan, 202 Callahan. Then I did 410 Lee Street, 406 Lee Street, then 315, then 107, and then 546 on Lee Street.
107 was the last one? Or?
No, the last one was 546 Lee
I
Street.
don't have
It's
that one either.
I saw a picture of a new construction, very contemporary, that has a metal mesh all on the exterior.
Well, 406, you did a really,
Yeah, 406 was a very nice house.
that was a very good, you changed an entry into something really beautiful.
Something interesting about that house is that when I bought it, the couple that I bought it from, that house had never been sold. So she inherited that home from her parents,
And
and I
was
bought them
built
from
in
them.
what, 19?
I believe early 1920s, that around there. And so I bought that house. So it had never been sold because his parent built the house,
owner, yeah.
and she inherited the house. And I have in my office something kind of interesting from that house. I have a piece of paper that they used, the building paper, that it was in between the metal roof, and I have it framed really nice in my office.
I think you're talking, the greenhouse, I believe is,
315 was a
group of
greenhouse.
pictures, yeah.
That was certified by the Build San Antonio Green Level 2. And yeah, very happy. Also, that I think won an honorable mention from the Green Building Awards from the City of San Antonio. And then we built this one, which is 107 Lee Street. And that one.
yeah, and 107 Lee Street was a contemporary. Did you have
Very
any
contemporary.
problem? I think one of the things that they demand when you're building in the historic district is that if you're building new, you need to have a porch.
Right, you need to have a porch, and somehow that the house relates to the neighboring properties. For example, this house has a porch, and it also has these kind of contemporary columns. Unfortunately, I don't have the picture of the house next door. The house next door to the right,
We got a corner of it,
Right.
and it's still the same.
and
as-
it has these same columns, but in wood. So we try to relate somehow to the neighboring properties, but being contemporary. Not everybody likes them. I think you need to blend within the neighborhood.
Are you going to do anything with the one next door?
Well, no, that one is. I think it's like they rent that. They rent that house. I think. Yeah.
Also, you get your now you're getting your houses solar ready. Is that?
Yes, that is
What do you-
correct. This
what is-
one has a
that's
6
one of
kilowatt
One of
system.
the videos was solar ready, showing a lot of things going on inside the house. But you said most of your solar ready is in the ground. What does that mean?
Right. So all of our projects now, and mainly the new community, the Green Heights that we were mentioning that we're building, that is close in the Alum Heights School District area. All of the houses are going to be 12 houses. We have the first four, well, the first five. We're building one currently. Have the solar ready, which means we run all the conduits. Everything's ready for the master panel. We have a bigger panel to have enough space for the breakers to include if the buyer decides to add the solar panels. Basically, everything's run. They just need to put the solar panels on top, and that's it. And they have all the rest, all the conduits, all the grounding, all in the interior of the house. It's done.
Did you do that at 107 Lee?
No, that one has actually
But
solar
it has
panels.
now it,
That one has
it's, yeah, one of the few that has the solar.
Has a 6
and we do
kilowatt
have a photo
system.
of them installing them and the roof. And it's interesting with the photo that I have of the building, which was difficult. You did them mostly at night when they're lit, and you don't see some of the really nice, neat features. It has a wonderful deck on the second floor.
Yeah, it has a
And
great
I
view
think
to the
it
tower.
Has, the instant hot water heaters
Yeah.
throughout, and it has a fantastic view of the Tower of America. So it's really downtown. That's that's a prize project. When did you do the King William House?
We started that project 2013, and we
Oh,
finished in 2015. So it took 2 years.
And that house was a really old house, and
Yeah.
a fancy mansion type house.
Right. It was the first. It was built in stages. So it seems that
You
the
did
first,
add-ons.
right. The first portion, the oldest portion of the house, was built anywhere between 1863 and 1873.
Ooh.
So it's very old. It was a one-story structure. Then it seems that they added a second story, and then in 1903 they added a front porch and another addition towards the back.
Well, you kept the entire exterior looking like it looked before. It looks
Right. What we found a neighbor, Maria Pfeiffer, who had a lot of pictures and information about the house. So she gave us a picture of the house, how the house looked in the 60s when it still had the porch that was built in 1903. And so we decided to go back to that because the porch had fallen apart, basically. So we rebuilt the porch as per the 1903. They think that because the owner at that time worked a lot with Adley B. Ayers, the great San Antonio architect, so they think that because of the style, this porch could have been designed by him. They don't have the plans, but just because of the relationship of the owner and other projects that he did with Adley B. Ayers, they think that this porch
and
could
it's
be
right off the river. It's
right. It's close to the river. It's close to the river.
H.E. Butt, doesn't he have a house in that area?
Yes, in King William.
Yeah, but I
in
mean,
King William Street.
it's not on that street though.
Yes, it's in King William
it's
Street.
not-
This
'cause
house is
he
closer
built
to the
a
park.
new house right at the end of the block by the river.
Yes, he has a very nice house, a stone house in the corner.
Well,
It's very nice with Johnson.
and
and
so
King William.
the last thing that we have is the last thing that you're working on, which you talked about, Green Heights. Now, what is that?
Yeah, well, Green Heights is a subdivision that we've been working. It's 12 homes. They're all going to be certified. Well, the first 4 are already certified zero energy ready by the Department of Energy, which is great because they're already. That means that if you install the solar panels, you can have a net zero home the way they are designed and built. And we're very happy that one of the houses won this year the Home Innovation Awards from the Department of Energy. So we're going to Denver to receive that award, and we're very excited about that.
Yeah, I think that's how I started. I was going to do a show on Broadway, and the big buildings that are going to use geothermal. We talked about that, and they can't do it till next month. And that's, I said, well, I had to switch gears and do something else. This is obviously an artist's sketch of the.
That's a rendering. However, the first 4 houses look basically like what you see there.
And what's so interesting about this project is that these 12 houses are on a cul-de-sac with a central park with a little playground, and so it's like a little village. It's like an altogether, instead of going perpendicular, it's going horizontal like Lee Street.
And something interesting about this project that also all the water for the storm water goes towards the park. So the park filters the water and acts a little bit of a with low impact development features. So the park filters the water and captures some of the water and lets it drain slowly, so that you don't get a lot of water with big rain.
So actually, when you get some rain, it filters into the park.
Correct. So it filters. It doesn't go to the street or anything. It goes all the street, all the rain from the park from the street drains to the park.
Well, as you can see from the photograph, the little houses, they're not little, they're what, 2,300 square feet?
2,300 square feet.
They surround this, really. How big is the park?
It's, I think, a little bit shy of 6,000 square feet, 5,500 square feet, I believe.
Well, that's really nice. You can keep track of your kids. How did you find land in?
Well, we were able to buy several lots that they were very deep. So we bought 4 lots one by one, and we were able to get 4, and that way we were able to do the subdivision.
Yeah, I have photos, a bunch of them, befores and afters, and these streets, these are all on Lee Street, and Ron has built, the last award, and your name was in there, along with the Pearl and the human credit.
Oh, the Creative Human, and the I think
it's a long name, and
from the Urban Land Institute.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate. They invited me just to present on the project that we did of infill development for the Urban Land Institute in February. So we presented that.
So, how long ago was that?
It was in February. In February.
So that's very recent, and that was for your Greenpoint.
Right. It was for another project that we did, that it was an infill, and that the houses, they wanted to see how the value of these houses, because they already resold. We sold them, and now the 3 houses have resold again. So they wanted to see, make the numbers of the investment of the people who bought them.
Yeah, I wanted to go into what makes a house green, the windows, the whatever. And I also have a list of some of the affiliations that some of the groups that you belong to and that have honored you. You've won Green Building Awards from San Antonio.
Yes.
And
we're very proud that we won it for
so
2018.
You are a Green Building star. And we are now out of time.
Thank you,
This
Rita.
has always happened. You need a couple hours. Everybody says, what, 30 minutes? I can't talk for 30 minutes, but it goes whoop.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
So thank you for being with us. I hope you watch the show. Watch it twice. Tell your friends. And hope to see you next month, next week. Have a great green week. And come back to our station.